MOMO in the Lake, we just wanted one last trip before college. No stress, no drama, just for friends. A quiet cabin, and a lake nobody had ever heard of. Matt found it online. Some sketchy Airbnb listing titled Private Lakeside Retreat. Disconnect and unwind. It was cheap, remote, and surrounded by woods. Perfect for a weekend getaway. It was me, Aaron, the one who always brought a camera, Matt, his girlfriend Sophie, and our friend Jay. I ran a small horror vlog back then. I posted about creepy legends, abandoned places, urban myths, you know, clickbait stuff. My last upload before the trip was about the Momo game, that weird internet challenge where a cursed contact, supposedly, messages you until you die. I joked about it all the time. That weekend, the joke stopped being funny. The lake didn't even have a name. Locals just called it the Old Quarry. The water was black, still, and cold, the kind of place that feels like it's watching you back. We arrived Friday afternoon, dumped our bags in the cabin, and spent the first night around a small campfire by the shore. Sophie didn't like it. She said her cousin once told her someone drowned here. They found his phone floating in the lake with a recording of a woman whispering his name. We all laughed it off, except her. That night, I remember waking up to running water sounds, like someone pacing along the dock. When I looked out the window, I saw nothing but fog, just faint ripples on the surface. The next day, we went swimming. The water was freezing, heavy, it felt wrong, like it didn't want us there. While swimming, Jay saw something shiny below. He dove and came up holding a phone. The screen was cracked, but we brought it back anyway, thinking we'd find its owner. By sunset, the phone somehow turned on. The wallpaper was a photo of the lake, but there was someone standing in the water, a woman, half submerged, with her head tilted back unnaturally far. Her arms hung like dead branches. None of us wanted to touch it after that, but then the screen glitched, flickered, and changed. The same image, only the woman was closer now. I turned the phone off, but before I could put it down, it buzzed. A new notification. Message from Mo. Sophie asked how that was possible. There was no SIM card inside. The message said, "I like your camera." I turned toward my vlog camera sitting on the table. Its red light was blinking. It was recording on its own. That night, we built another fire by the water. Everyone was tense. I replayed some of my footage, and in one clip, when I panned across the lake, something moved. Not fish. Something human-shaped under the surface, rising, sinking, like it was standing up and going back down again. Before we could say anything, a voice called out from across the water. Soft, female, Aaron, my name. We froze. No one was out there. No boats, no flashlights. The voice came straight from the lake. Matt yelled into the dark. "Who's out there?" Silence. Then, just a single splash. Sophie whispered, "Don't talk to her. She doesn't like when people answer." We packed up the fire and went inside. That night, none of us slept. Around 2 a.m., there was a knock on the door. 3 slow knocks. Matt, half asleep, opened it. No one was there. Just a trail of wet footprints leading from the dock to the porch. Bare feet. They stopped halfway up the stairs, right below the loft where Sophie was sleeping. We searched every inch of the cabin. Nothing. When I looked back at my phone, the camera app was open again, recording by itself. One frame showed a woman standing beside the bed, head tilted backward, eyes black, then static. The next morning, Matt was gone. His shoes were by the dock, his phone still on the step. We found his last video, him laughing, splashing, yelling something like, "She can't scare me." Then a faint whisper replied, "You said you'd play." The video ended with a splash. Jay called his name for hours. No answer, just ripples in the middle of the lake. That night, the same phone buzzed again. Another message from Momo. 3 left. Sophie broke down crying. "She's playing the game," she said. We woke her up. We decided to leave the next morning, but the car wouldn't start. The engine was dead, the battery drained, even though we hadn't used it. Then the radio turned on by itself. At first it played static, then our voices from last night, laughing, whispering, and under it, another laugh. Higher, wet. We ran back to the cabin. Sophie was gone. I grabbed my camera. Jay stood by the window. When I pointed the camera toward him, I froze. In the reflection behind him stood a figure. Hair slicked down, neck twisted, smiling. He turned around. Nothing there. Then a drop of water hit his shoulder. We both looked up. From the ceiling, a hand was hanging down. Thin, pale, fingers black with rot. Sophie's bracelet dangled from its wrist. Jay screamed. The lights went out. I didn't remember what happened next. Just flashes of lightning and water pouring in through the door. The last thing my camera recorded was me crying into the lens. "If someone finds this, don't come here. The lake isn't just water. It remembers." The rain was pounding so hard it sounded like footsteps on the roof. Jay grabbed my arm. "We need to go." We ran toward the door, but water was already flooding inside. Through the window, I saw her. Standing in the lake, neck bent backward, hair floating like seaweed, face stretched into an impossible smile. She started walking gliding across the surface toward us. Jay pushed me through the back door. I slipped on the mud, crawled up the small hill behind the cabin. I turned around just once, and saw her hand reach through the doorframe. Then Jay's scream, then silence. The camera must have hit the ground, because the last few seconds are sideways. You can see the water rushing up, swallowing the cabin. Then, right before the feed cuts out, a reflection, not in the water, but in the lens of my own face, smiling back at me. I don't remember anything after that. 2 months later, hikers found the place half submerged. Food still on the table, phones floating in the sink. Police said it looked like flooding, but the cabin was miles uphill from the nearest river. They found my camera under the dock, waterlogged but still intact. The footage was blurry, but one clip remained clear. The lake at dawn.com. Empty then. Faintly, just beneath the surface, faces, 4 of them. Eyes open, mouths moving silently underwater. A 5th face appeared behind them, long hair floating upward, smiling. The last sound before the file ended was a whisper. You played the game, now stay. No one ever booked that cabin again. Online, the listing disappeared. But sometimes, when you search for rentals near that area, an old thumbnail still shows up for half a second before vanishing. It's the lake. And if you pause it just right, you'll see her. Head tilted, smiling, waiting. So if you ever find a lake that isn't on the map, don't swim in it, because some games never end.